Right, Ben. I've got two big pitches, plot pitches anyway. What have you got?
I've got two small ones.
Okay. I sort of got lost a little bit.
Right.
I got. Alright, I have written. Hang on. Let's see if I can find out how many words this is. So, my first pitch. Is that. I don't know how many that is. Is that 300? Hang on. Let me highlight it. So, I believe it's 1,200 words long. My first pitch.
It's
So,
ridiculous.
shall I get into it?
Mm.
Yeah, right. So what I've done is I've done two plots. So I'll do one plot, you do yours. I'll do another plot, you do yours. And then I've got a cast and a couple of directors as well.
Do you want
So
to do director and cast first, so I can sort of picture it, picture
no,
who's in it?
no, not really. No,
Well,
no.
it's gonna be
Oh,
hard.
well, okay. So the cast only really refers to the first movie. So I'll say that as I'm going then. Okay, how about that? So, right, we meet Mario. He's a detective in the 1920s. Stay with me, Ben. And he's solving the kidnapping of Princess Peach, right? He has a brother who is a plumber, but also an athlete. Has to count on him for muscle and backup sometimes. Okay? So it's like a 1920s black and white detective movie, you know? And basically, Mario gets a letter that someone called Peach has gone missing. So he's on the case to find out what's happened. You know, where is she? Who's kidnapped her? So the first lot of clues he finds leads him to the mafia. You know, it's 1920s. There's obviously the mafia, and the mafia is run by none other than Wario.
Mm.
And all hell breaks loose, and there's a bit of a shootout. But don't worry, he's got Luigi there, and Luigi stomps on some heads, and then Wario's mafia is down. They get some clues from Wario that Peach was last seen at a nightclub. So they go to the club and meet an exotic dancer called Birdo. Birdo tells them that Peach was at the club with Daisy, her best friend. But they get into a fight with a lady called Pauline, and Pauline's boyfriend comes out, and he's also the owner of the club, and he chucked out Peach and Daisy, and he is none other than a guy called DK, also stands for Donkey Kong. So, got a couple of characters. So, here's my cast for those characters. I've got Mario, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You know, I love JGL. Bit of JGL. Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Mario. Luigi, someone similar to Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but a bit more muscular, you know. So I've gone for Logan Marshall Green, who basically is a Tom Hardy lookalike, but he's really good in a few films that he's been in. Wario and Waluigi, I put Robert De Niro as Wario, you know, big
Right.
crime boss, yeah.
Right.
And Waluigi, Stephen Merchant.
Yeah, I like that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Birdo, I've put down as Anna de Armas just because
Mhm.
just needed someone, you know, who's an exotic dancer. And I just thought her from Blade Runner 2049. Peach, played by none other than Jennifer Lawrence. And Daisy,
Mm.
played by Isla Fisher. I just think those two could work quite well. Isla Fisher does a very good panicked, worried, you know, sort of role. And she would be because her friend's gone missing type thing.
Yeah.
Pauline, I've put down as Sandra Bullock just because I wanted someone a little bit older, a little bit more, you know,
Mhm.
brunette as well. And then for Donkey Kong, I've put Batista or
Right.
Terry Crews as Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Right, so that's my couple of bits of cast there.
And are you imagining this as like a film noir sort of
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, all in
Right.
black and white, all in black and white because
Right.
we'll get there,
Okay.
Ben. We'll get there. So they're talking to Birdo, and she tells them that DK chucked him out. So just as Birdo is telling them this, DK comes over and is like, "Hey, what's going on here? Can you leave?" Ask Mario to leave and Luigi, but Mario's like, "Ah, we're just having a little conversation," in my Italian American accent. So Mario refuses to leave. DK gets angry, goes over to the bar, gets beer kegs. Also look like barrels, right? Starts throwing beer kegs at Mario and Luigi. So they try and avoid him, and they avoid him by going up a ladder like they would in the video game. And he's like, we're just having a conversation. And then DK's, "Oh, right, I'm sorry. And he basically tells him, look, we're looking for a girl who's gone missing. Her name's Peach. And DK's like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know that she'd gone missing. I feel really bad because I chucked her out that night. Blah, 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 blah. I know Daisy, though. Here's her address." So Luigi and Mario get to go meet Daisy now. So they go over to Daisy's apartment. They see Daisy. Luigi falls in love instantly, gets all googly eyes and is lost for words. So he's all a bit rigid and can't speak. And as they're talking to Daisy, they get attacked by two fellas. They've just come out of nowhere. Where these guys come from? They've broken into her apartment, and they're telling Daisy to shut her mouth while they're trying to beat up Mario and Luigi, and don't tell them everything, blah 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 blah. One's a sort of scrawny, sort of skinny guy. This is black and white, so we make him sort of very grey. And then the other guy is very big, fat, very white, sort of blown out, overexposed white guy. And they beat them up. And then she's like, "Hey, I know you two. You're Dry Bones and you're Boo from the games." And they reveal that their boss is like, our boss has got Peach." So they try and get more information out of them, but they escape. So Dry Bones and Boo, they've run off. Okay. Now Daisy reveals that she knows who their boss is because she knows Dry Bones and Boo, and that their boss hideout is at an old construction site. Okay, it's going to get interesting in a minute, Ben. But before we go there, Dry Bones and Boo. So what I've done for these two, I've cast the people that are playing Cruella's goons in the upcoming Cruella movie. If you remember from 101 Dalmatians, you got one big fat guy and one really skinny guy. So I've put down Joel Fry and Paul Walter Hauser as Dry Bones and Boo, respectively. Now, they go to the construction site. They leave Daisy and they go to the construction site. So Mario and Luigi, they haul down a cab, right? It's in, they're in the city, so they need to get across the city. So they haul down a cab to get to the construction site. And they're in there, and the cab driver's like, "How's your night going?" And he's like, "Oh, we're looking for a girl. I don't know if you've seen her." And he seems to be very invested. "Oh, what clues have you found? Where have you been? Did you try the nightclub?" And Mario's a bit like, "Who is this guy?" And then he sort of questions him, and he's like, "Why are you so interested?" And the driver reveals that he was the one who originally sent the letter to Mario, asking him to investigate the kidnapping of Peach. Mario asks his name. He says, "Oh, my name is Todd Monahan, but most people call me Toad." He explains that Peach was a regular customer of his, and he grew very close to her in a friendly way, right? They're friends, And he got very concerned when he hadn't seen her for a few days. Usually she gets the cab to and fro her apartment with Toad every day, right? Anyway, they go to the construction site, and Toad asks to tag along. He's very worried about their friend, right? And they find the construction site to be abandoned, and they're confused to why Daisy would send them there. They can't find any evidence that anyone was there. That they can't find Dry Bones and Boo. They're just looking around. They can't find anything. And as they're exploring, they find a hidden entrance to an old cave. Right? They manage to get in. They manage to go there. And they enter the cave, and they can't really see anything. And then they fall through a portal into another dimension. That's right. I'm bringing it back to Super Mario Brothers from 1993. But I'm doing it in a good way. So, they fall through the portal into another dimension. And they wake up, and they look around, and it's colour. We've gone from black and white to colour, and it's all cartoony. So what we've done is we've done Wizard of Oz, but I've done a reverse Sonic the Hedgehog. So Sonic the Hedgehog comes from his dimension into ours, and they've gone from our dimension into the Mushroom Kingdom. There we go. Right, not done yet though. Toad, by the way, I've cast. Who did I cast? Tom Kenny, like the guy who voices SpongeBob, because he's the only sort of person I could think who could do a really high pitched voice that wouldn't be annoying. So yeah, I've put Tom Kenny down as a Toad. I've lost my place now. Hang on a minute. Right, so they've fallen through the portal, and then they wake up. They sort of look around. We're cartoony, sort of animated people, right? And Mario looks down. He's like, "Where do I get this belly from?" All of a sudden, he's got this tubby belly. Then they look off in the distance. They find a castle, and there's a big sort of cloud with like lightning and stuff striking down there. Like that's where she's got to be, right? So they make their way over there, off into the distance, and on their way they bump into people they've previously met, like Daisy and Pauline and Donkey Kong, and they basically all explain that they were all originally from the Mushroom Kingdom, and the guy who just kidnapped Peach did this. He wanted to be in the real world. He didn't want to be in Mushroom Kingdom. So he made everyone sort of come with him to the real world, and then no one sort of liked it, but they all sort of forgot who they were until they got back to the Mushroom Kingdom type thing. So yeah, a little bit like Once Upon a Time, the TV series, if you've ever seen that. It's a bit like that. And then they meet Toadette, right? And Toadette and Toad are reunited. It's Toad's wife. They hadn't seen each other for years. They greet each other. And Toadette goes up to Mario and Luigi, and he's like, "I'm really thankful for you to, bring back so and so. Here's a present for each of you." And she gives them 2 flowers, and she gives Mario a red one, and she gives Luigi the blue one, right? That'll come in useful later. So they finally get to the castle to find Peach, and they discover who kidnapped her, and it's this big slime ball of a crime boss back in the real world called Bowser, and he had obviously kidnapped Peach because she was figuring out what was happening, why they'd come to the real world. So he kidnapped her and he's chucking her back in the Mushroom Kingdom. But Mario and Luigi have come to save the day, basically. So he tries to attack them. They jump out the way using their jumps, the Mario jumps, and they get a chance, and they look at each other. They give themselves a little nod, a bit like Doctor Strange and Iron Man from Endgame. Little nod, hold up the flowers. They eat the flowers. They become Fire Mario and Ice Luigi, right? So they're powered up. They got their powers. They're beating Bowser, but it's not enough. Bowser gets them, and it's all going wrong, right? Mario's pinned down under Bowser's foot. He's got Luigi in his hand. He's mocking Mario. He's like, "Oh, you can't defeat me. Neither of you can." He's about to bite Luigi. He's about to bite down on him, and Peach has managed to escape, and she's like, "Hey, Mario." And she throws him one of these stars, as though those ones that make you invincible. And then, basically he becomes invincible, and he defeats Bowser, saves the day, and all the people in the Mushroom Kingdom are now reunited, and he decides to stay there. So, yeah, that is my Super Mario 1920s black and white noir detective movie. What do you reckon, Ben?
So, in the real world, is it live action?
Yeah.
So who have you got as Toad in the real world?
Tom Kenny.
Oh, both. Okay.
Yeah. Tom Kenny's. So I didn't cast Bowser because you'd only see Bowser in the animated world, and he doesn't really speak. But yeah, for everyone who I've got in the real world, I've given them a cast. So
right.
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, firstly, before I forget, when you said about my friends call me Toad, it reminded me of the line that he took out of Justice League of "It's like a cave, like a bat cave."
I don't
And
remember
I'm
that.
so happy they took it out. Flash says
Really?
it when they go to the bat cave. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, it's got the very Wizard of Oz sort of thing,
Yeah,
wake
but
up in a different place.
reverse type thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and like like Once Upon a Time where they all sort of forget who they are and stuff.
Yeah.
And then again bringing it like back to the real world, so they have to fight the man in the real world. It's so it's like it's live action and then animation, right?
Animation when they fall through the portal. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
none of it crosses over. We don't have animated
No.
characters. No, good.
No.
Yeah, I think it it would be a weird one to market if you're marking it as Super Mario Brothers, and then you come in, the movie starts, and it's a 1920s gangster film noir.
Yeah,
Be a
you
little
just
bit
you
odd.
just show scenes from the end of the movie, I suppose. Like, I don't know. I just got like so invested in it. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna sell this.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I quite struggled this week in kind of bringing it into live action. So putting it into
Yeah.
like a familiar sort of genre, like a gangster film noir,
Yeah,
it's a way of doing it.
yeah.
I guess.
I didn't know how to do it into live action. Like I mean, Bob Hoskins was probably the best Mario looking guy. That and Danny DeVito, they're the best sort of Mario looking people there are. I mean, like, do you want like a short fat guy running around, like, So yeah, tricky subject this week. But Ben, what did you come up with?
All right. So, as I say, they're quite small. 2 plots.
Right.
The first one, the film opens, and we're in a race.
Oh,
We're in a
okay.
kart. We're in a kart race,
Oh,
similar to like Ready Player One, which when we went and watched it in the cinema, we missed
Yeah.
the start anyway. But they're in a race, and we're going, and they're all going, and they're all classic Mario Kart. People throwing
yeah.
objects
Bananas.
and stuff, and
Yeah.
they get in the boxes and they're opening them and everything. And we're getting down to the end, and it's Mario and Bowser at the front. And what's this? Bowser's got a new item that they've never seen before, and it basically just takes out everyone on the
Blue shell.
track.
Is it blue shell?
No, everyone on the track.
Oh.
Like no one can recover from it at all. So obviously he's the only person that crosses the line as well. And
Scandalous.
this is right at the start of the film.
Yeah.
So then Mario, Luigi, the rest of them, they need to find out how they're going to combat this new item that they've never seen, which I think is a good way of doing the old the whole reason for having the film, right? Because if you've got Sonic and you just had it as Sonic, there's no reason for the film. It needs to progress far further than that. So having this new item gives it like a reason to go watch the film. And then basically, they'd spend the film going around saying like, Peach, what do you know about this item? And then she knows a little bit, but go to this person, kind of like your wise old man character.
Set on a quest, right?
Yeah, it's just the hero's journey. It's just it's a classic thing, isn't it? And then they end up at Bowser's castle, and then he's got that item locked away in a dungeon, and they have to go get it. But to get into the dungeon, they have to do a kart race, right? So they're like, "There's no way we can't do it because he's got the item." But then obviously they use like all their skills and plumbing skills to get down into the dungeon and win the day. That was basically it.
Bowser's Castle in Mario Kart is a really, really tricky track, actually. Yeah, you could take good influence from that. Would it?
Yes.
Yeah, would it all be animated?
Possibly. When I wrote the plots, I didn't really have either in mind, either animation or live action.
Yeah. Yeah, so
but it kind of links into my directors. Like I've got some animation directors.
yeah. See,
So.
I obviously the first one is like a mix, but my second one is all animated.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you want to give your second one?
Yeah, I can do. Yeah, I was basically thinking it's possible either way, right? I think Mario Kart, if it's done all right, is a good one to do in live action.
Yeah. Well,
Rather
yeah,
than
Fast and Furious, but Mario.
yeah, but at the same time, I was also thinking like, Wreck-It Ralph has got the racing scenes and stuff, which is
Yeah.
done well. So
Yeah, really well.
could be
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
Do my second plot, yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So in this one, we open with Mario saving Peach. It's the
Right.
end of the game. We're at the end of the game. We've just won, and we've just saved Peach.
We defeated Bowser.
But yeah. But she didn't need to be saved, you know?
Oh,
She
yeah.
could have got out herself. And here we've got a dynamic of Princess Fiona in Shrek. So this is very much Shrek-inspired Mario, right?
Oh, I like it.
Now, I don't want it to be Princess Peach the movie, because you get the problem there where you lose half of your target audience, because you're not going to want...
Yeah.
People go watch Princess Peach the movie. So it will have a fairly similar weighting of Peach and Mario, similar to Shrek, right?
Yeah.
So basically, it saves her, and then she's like, "Oh, I didn't need to be saved, but cheers, I'm gonna go off now." And then she just leaves. She goes away to create her own life. And she goes to, I don't know, some fictional town where they all live, similar to like Far, Far Away in Shrek. So then Mario goes back to Luigi. He's like, "What was that? What was that all about?"
Yeah.
I just saved her.
Yeah, this massive.
She's cleared off.
Yep.
And Luigi's like, "It's all right. We'll just go out with the boys. We don't need her. We'll just go out with the boys."
Lads.
So then they all get together. Yeah, they'll get together. We get together with Toad and Yoshi and everyone. They'll go out. But then, who's this? Who's this rocking up to town who we haven't seen for 20 years? It's Big Donkey Kong. And he's gone straight for Peach. And Peach is now in a situation where she can't get out herself. And she's realised, oh no, maybe I shouldn't have been so selfish.
Yeah.
So then we get the boys, and now as a band together, Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Toad, all going to fight Donkey Kong. And then basically we get into like a Donkey Kong sort of thing in that far, far away sort of town. Where he's kind of like holding it hostage sort of thing, like everyone in the town.
Yeah, and he could have like, Diddy Kong as his henchman and Cranky Kong.
Yeah, and they all have to try and sneak in, right? But they're like, how are we going to sneak in? We don't know what to do. Or the whole thing is like Fortress. So who knows how to be sneaky in these situations? And they go find Wario and Waluigi, and they're like, right, I know we're not friends, but this is for the greater good. And then they all team up as well.
Nice.
It's like it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend, etc.
Yeah.
So they all sort of come together, and then we've got Wario, Waluigi, Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Toad, all going in there.
Team up.
And then to take it down. And it starts off as kind of like a stealth thing. We go over the back wall, everything, but then it all turns out into like chaos. That's pretty much it. And then obviously they save the day and then win.
Like it. Did you want to give your cast, or do you want me to give my second plot?
Yeah, I can do cast.
Yeah, go.
So, as I was saying, I found this harder than I think anyone that we've done before to cast.
Yeah.
And particularly Mario. Mario I really struggled with. And the only name that kept coming back to me, and I looked on a lot of fan casts online as well, the only name that kept coming back to me was Jack Black, mainly because he's an actor that everyone likes, right?
I definitely could see that, yeah.
And I think, obviously he'd give his own spin on it, right?
Oh yeah.
It would be hard to see him just as Mario. You'd see him as Jack Black playing Mario,
It's a bit like Ryan Reynolds being Pikachu, right? It's like
yeah,
it's clearly Ryan Reynolds, but it works, and I think it'd be the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Luigi, I had JGL there as a name. But I also had, just because I want to see him work with Jack Black, Andy Samberg.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Good dynamic.
Yeah.
Wario, I put as Danny DeVito.
Oh really? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Because of his accent and everything, I think it fits. Waluigi, I put Ty Burrell, who's the guy in Modern Family, the dad.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've also put possibly. This was kind of a last minute addition. Adam Sandler as Waluigi. Just because Jack Black's Mario, so why not?
He does that. He does that lot of why you don't get a me like that.
Yeah, exactly.
He could go off the end. Yeah,
that's a stupid voice. Peach, I put Anna Faris, just because she looks, princessy.
Who is she? I know that name.
She's in a lot of stuff. Not that I can say off the top of my head.
That much stuff, is she? Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I worried about was maybe age difference between Jack Black, but I think she's in like a mid to late 40s, and Jack Black's like early 50s.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
As Daisy, I put Zoe Deschanel.
Oh yeah, I'll see that. Yeah.
Similar reason. Toad, I struggled with. Toad, I didn't really know what to do because again, it's the voice, right?
It's the high pitch, isn't it? Yeah.
But I kind of just sacrificed that for just an actor instead. So I put Josh Gad because he likes to play a sidekick, like Olaf, and
he's got a high pitched voice.
LeFou.
I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yoshi, I've got two names. Yoshi, I'd have as either motion capture or fully CG. I've got
Andy Serkis.
No.
No? Oh, I thought that's where you're going with that.
One that ties into possible directors is Taika Waititi as Yoshi.
Right. Yeah,
because all he's going to say is Yoshi. That's all he's going to say, right?
Is it Yoshi or Yoshi?
Well, who knows? And then the other name possibly I've got is Seth MacFarlane, just because he knows how to say a single word in lots of different ways. Bowser, I've put the name that came up the most in the fan castings was Ron Perlman.
Oh, perfect.
Big bad boy. Donkey Kong, I put as Keith David. Because the voice. And I ended up on one of those videos where it's like every animated character voiced by this man. And Keith David was, he'd voiced the gorilla in a Legend of Tarzan animated thing, and he just sounds like you can see Donkey Kong there. Basically, it sounds menacing enough.
Keith David is a great voice actor. He is probably the best thing about the Saints Row games because I think he turns up in 3 and 4, maybe 1 or something like that. I don't know. He's really good in it though.
And that's all I had for cast. That's because as I say, I found it really hard to put names to them.
I didn't really cast for my animated one, but obviously I did for the live action one. But for the, I mean, because I don't know, they don't. I wouldn't really know to cast actually for the voices for the animated one. But yeah, that all sounds pretty good to me. Nice, famous people, but still you could see it working. You know.
Do you want to do your plot and then we'll do directors and stuff after?
Yeah, right. So, for my second plot, it's Pulp Fiction, but in the Mushroom Kingdom. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Now stay with me. Yep. So it's a kind of like an anthology movie, but there's like an overall narrative that ties in everyone's separate stories, crossing paths, teaming up, stuff like that, So everyone sort of runs into each other at different points on their own stories, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, you start off. It's a bit of a silent movie. You got Yoshi, he's just walking down, he's just minding his own business, he's sniffing the flowers, he's waving to people, he's just loving life, he's out in the sunshine, you know? Literally just minding his own business. And then there's a big thud. And he's like knocked down onto the ground. And he wakes up and he like looks around, he's like, what's happened? And Wario and Waluigi are just standing over him like, oh! Because they bumped into him because they're running away from something. And then you see Wario and Waluigi's story. And basically their story is they were attempting to steal a giant mushroom from Peach's castle. But Luigi spotted them and he gives chase. And it was like a high-speed chase scene. You know, they're running out the castle. They're on the boats. They're getting down the river. Luigi's following them in their car. You know, and then he's on foot. And they're sort of like throwing stuff in his way. But Luigi's jumping over it all. You know, trying to get the mushroom back. And then eventually they just throw the mushroom at him. And they split off into different directions and meet up a bit later on, and they're still running because they think Luigi's still onto them, and then they bump into Yoshi, okay? And then you see Daisy's story, and she's feeling a bit sad. She's having a bit of a moment. She's a bit upset. What's going on with Daisy? This is all animated, by the way. She's feeling a bit sad because her car isn't working, and she's not very good in the races. She's always coming last. So Luigi wants to surprise her, and he brings her a brand new cart, right? And he's giving her lessons how to operate it, and you know what power ups to use with the cart, how it dispatches it, stuff like that. Sort of fleshing out the cart side of it a little bit more. And then he realizes the time, and he's like, "Oh no, I've got to see Mario." Don't know what that accent was.
Better than the last one.
And so it's meant to be meeting Mario at Peach's castle. So he's running into the castle, and then he spots Wario, and then obviously that's where that sort of went. So then we cut away, and we see Mario, and he's waiting on the tennis court at Peach's castle, and he's waiting for Luigi, and he's like, where is he? What's going on? So he just whacks out his mobile phone, his iPhone, right? Gives him a little call, and can't get hold of him. Nothing. So then he calls Toad. And he said, Toad, look, I need your help, mate. Like Luigi ain't turned up for practice. Can you come play tennis with me? And Toad's like, I would, mate, but I would, mate.
Played by Jared Butler.
Played by Tom Hardy doing the Cray Twins.
Yeah. Bronson, Charles Bronson.
Yeah. He's like, but I'm in the mines. I'm looking for treasure. So he can't help out. And then Peach approaches him, and he's like, look, I'll help you play tennis. And Mario's like, look, I appreciate that, Peach, but you're rubbish at tennis. And she knows it as well, and she's like, yeah, no, I'm no good at tennis. So what they do is they go off and they play golf instead. And there's a nice little story of them. They just go off and they play golf, right? So we're tying in all these different, you know, you got a bit of Mario Kart in there, you got a bit of Mario Tennis, bit of Mario Golf, you know. So then we go over to Toad, and Toad is in the mines looking for treasures, like we said, and he's in the mine with Toadette, and they bump into Bowser Jr. and they're like, oh, no wonder we couldn't find any treasure. He stole all the treasure, so he's running away with the treasure. So they have to give chase to him, right? And they get in a minecart. And they're following Bowser Jr. And Bowser Jr. is in his like fly thing that he has, and he's got all the treasure in there. So they're running off, and then Bowser Jr. sets all the dynamite off, causing the mines to collapse. So they have to get out the mines instead of going after him. They get out, it explodes. They land in a river, and they get onto the minecart, and they're like, they've just made it, just got away, and then they're sailing down the river. Just, off into the distance, and then the camera pans up, and you just see Yoshi again, just going about his day in silence. So it loops back around to the start of the movie, so Pulp Fiction, but in the Mushroom Kingdom. What do you think of that, Benz?
Yeah, I like an event central narrative or a multi-stranded narrative as opposed to a classic 3-act structure.
Yeah.
But I think they're quite hard to do.
Yeah.
However, I think when you do have a diverse range of characters, and in this case characters that are well known, I think it's easier to do. So yeah, and I like the inclusion of, you know, the franchise as a whole with like Mario Kart and stuff. You can get Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games in there. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't really think of like Donkey Kong or Bowser or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that if I had time, I could have made up something, you know, where they sort of linked. But yeah, that was sort of it. I do have a really short plot 3, which is it's just Wario's origin story. You know, just see why he hates Mario and why he teams up with Waluigi, and just his story on his own. That was my other one. But yeah, there you go. That's my 2 plots. Well, 3, I suppose. Do you want
Toad to be voiced by Danny Dyer?
Danny Dyer. Danny Dyer.
All right, Mario.
Oh, I can't, mate. I'm sorry, mate. I'll tell you, mate. I swear down on my mother's life. Oh dear. People listening to this podcast probably like, what are they talking about? Mother's like what? Swear on what? Right, Ben. I've got only one director for the animated one, and that's Brad Bird from the Incredibles.
Yep.
That's my one director for the animated ones, but I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 directors for my first plot. Do you want to hear them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I first put down Robert Rodriguez, Mr. Sin City, but also knows how to do a kids film. There you go.
Spy Kids.
Yeah, so you got that black and white, you know, noir-esque style, but then also, switches over. I've also put down, because, you know, it's a crime, mystery, thriller type thing, isn't it, for the majority of the movie. Rian Johnson, I just keep coming back to him. He just knows how to pull off a twist, doesn't he? Just play with your expectations and chuck them in the bin. Last Jedi, best one of the sequel trilogy, just saying. So also I've put down Kenneth Branagh, who obviously directed Murder on the Orient Express and the upcoming Murder on the Nile, something like that. The Poirot.
Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile, that's it, the Poirot movie. Also David Fincher, just because he knows how to, you know, do a little mystery, little bit of a crime thriller. I've also put down Drew Goddard, but I can't remember why. I can't remember what he's done. It must have been for a reason. But yeah, what do you think of those directors, Ben? I'll look up Drew Goddard.
Yeah. Solid choices.
What's he done? Oh, he done Bad Times at the El Royale. I don't know if you've ever watched that. I suppose he could sort of do the animated one actually, because Bad Times at the El Royale is kind of like a bit like you said. It's sort of multi-narratives, but it's got one sort of overall like narrative at the end type thing. But it's also got a bit of mystery to it. I quite enjoyed the movie. I thought it was all right. I think it got a bit bad reviews. I can't remember now. It's got some big people in it though. Chris Hemsworth, Jeff Bridges, Dakota Johnson, John Hamm. Yeah, lots of famous people. Yeah, just couldn't remember why I put them down, obviously. What about you, Ben?
Directors, I've got Rob Letterman, who did Detective Pikachu, and also Gulliver's Travels and Shark Tale, so he's got a connection with Jack Black.
Oh, yeah.
Shark Tale, great film. One of Will Smith's best. I've also got Taika Waititi.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Just because he can't make a bad film anymore. You know. And also, I've put him down as writer as well, just because obviously this would be like a adapted screenplay, which, you know, he won an Oscar for Jojo Rabbit for adapted screenplay, but also doing Thor Ragnarok. It's also obviously adapted from comic books. I don't think he wrote it though. I think he just directed Thor Ragnarok. I've also put Rich Moore, who directed Wreck-It Ralph, for obvious reasons, as I spoke about with like the kart racing and stuff. And then also a guy that seems like we talk about him every week is Matt Vaughn, just because of the action scenes again.
Do we talk about him every week? Or has it only just been the past week?
Well, seems like we talk about him every week. But for like action scenes, which I think would be awesome if he directed a Mario Kart race.
Oh yeah,
like, as a
he'd
scene.
be good.
I think that'd be brilliant.
I think another one would be good at like the chasing sort of Mario Kart scenes. Oh, I can't remember his name now. Guy from Baby Driver, Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I just love Baby Driver.
Great. I love Star Wars, so I'll put George Lucas as the director.
No, but Baby Driver, he's got like those chase scenes. Oh, I'm gonna watch Baby Driver again now. I'm in the mood for it. But yeah, those chase scenes and the driving just times up with the music so well. But yeah, I'm being favoritism now.
Yeah. Producer, I've put Steven Spielberg because he is executive producer on everything now, apparently. Yeah. So why not?
Yeah, go for it.
Writer, again, Taika Waititi. That's the only name I've got there.
Yeah,
probably could have thought some
he knows
more,
what he's doing, doesn't he?
Yeah, and again, like adapted screenplay, like Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah,
it's great. Composer, I've put Thomas Holkenborg. Don't know if I'm saying that right.
Oh, I don't know that.
But he recently did Zack Snyder's Justice League. He's also done Godzilla vs Kong. But the main reason is because he did Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, did he?
So he's quite diverse. I think he has a close relationship with, I think, Hans Zimmer.
Oh, does he?
So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Godzilla, Godzilla King of Monsters, I just want to say, was composed by Bear McCreary, who did the God of War reboot music. He is really, keep an eye on him, because I think he's a bit up and coming, He's quite young compared to some, But yeah, I just wanted to sprinkle that in there.
Yes, that's everything I've got.
Cool. I think that about does it then, doesn't it, Ben?
I think so.
Yeah, well, thank you for listening. Hopefully you like our ideas of a Super Mario / Mushroom Kingdom movie. Please be sure to leave us a rating wherever you listen to us. I don't think we've got any ratings yet, so any rating would be great. No, I'm joking. Please, 5 stars. That would be the best. Thank you very much. And please, you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, any of your favourite podcasting apps. I'm sure we're on there somewhere. If you'd like to send us a question or a recommendation for a topic, you can send us an email to playwatchpitchcast@gmail.com. Playwatchpitchcast, all one word, @gmail.com. If you want to see any updates about our podcast on social media, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/playmovieswatchgames. Alternatively, you can find us on Twitter @playwatchpitch. If you don't want to listen to the whole podcast, and I understand because people don't have enough time nowadays, hop over onto YouTube and you can watch just our pitches on there. They seem to be going up sort of about a week after our actual pitch podcast goes up. So yeah,